I'm live. Hello, friends. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and I am down here in my man cave in my basement, where I am going to be talking about the latest kit reveal for Vandor Chewbacca, hashtag Chewie Unchained. I'm surprised no one has come up with that yet, because that is going to be his moniker from now on. And if anyone at all can come up with a Chewie Unchained like image, a graphic, I want to see it. Maybe I'll do a contest. We'll vote on the best one. I don't know. That would be sweet. Now, we're also going to talk about the young Han Solo. We're going to be going over the kit. I have my notes. I don't know if you can see them. Probably not. That is what we're going off. So then after the kit, we're going to talk about some random speculation as to what it means potentially for the future of the game. Now, this is the part of the video that I love to do the most. I really enjoy speculating wildly. I think it's what I like most about these videos, just ranting to myself and people responding. Now, that being said, because this is live, because I'm doing this live and doing absolutely zero editing, be prepared for some ums, some ahs, some random tangents that mean nothing, and then hopefully by the end, some awesomeness. Now, that being said, I will finish off with a segment that I'm going to call Ask a Nerdy, because I had no other way to nothing else to call it. And with that, I'll just go ahead and jump right in, guys. Now, the new tunes obviously are Young Han and the Vandor Chewie. I'm actually really excited about both of these. I'm curious to see what they are going to look like and how they're going to play out. One of the things that I hope that I'm not actually, saying anything that did I say Vandor Chewie? I said Vandor Chewie. Maybe better than Indoor Chewie. Or would it be? Because I think maybe Indoor Chewie would come with an ATST. Maybe he wouldn't. Either way, that'd still be sweet. But no, Vandor Chewie. You were correct, Sanely Red. I am excited about these characters. They are going to be, I really think, interesting. Now, one of the things that I don't think that I am spoiling, let me double check here, is the new tag that's coming with these, and that's the concept of smugglers. I heard it today when I was watching Mobile's video. He has a great video that talks about this, and he's got a lot of great ideas for teams when it comes to the best kind of, how to put them together and where they're going to work. I have a few of my own ideas. My ideas are more of like what teams are going to be coming because of these two. But these characters are coming in marquee events. They are, which means you can unlock them. You will be able to unlock them at 3-star if you're able to finish all 3 marquee events or all 3 phases of the marquee event. You will be able to do this on May 17th. That is just a few days away. Less than, 72 hours from now, we will be unlocking this, these two characters. Of course, I spelled it wrong in the title. That's what I do. I can't read or write. That's why I do YouTube videos instead of hosting a blog anymore, because writing's tough. But moving on, you will be able to play these pretty soon, guys. You'll be able to get your hands on these. I don't know when I will get my hands on them as to a full unlocked 7-star. I'm really excited to, because I've been excited to play a 5-team Han team for a long time, and I'm really curious if all 5 Hans can solo the Rancor. I know that no one else besides me wants to see that, but I've got to see it. I've got to see it, because it's the Han team. I'd love it if they were like soloing the Jabba, but that's not an event yet. So, or maybe it is, and we just don't know about it. I don't know about it, so no spoilers, nothing like that. One of the things, there's obviously packs and bundles that are coming with this. I bought the ability materials pack a couple of days ago. I used some crystals. It's a lot of crystals, but it comes with a ton of omegas, or a chance for a ton of Omegas and a chance for quite a few purple materials. I think each time that I did it, I got 9 Omegas and then 25 Omegas, which was awesome. But then I think I averaged about like 30, MK3 ability materials. I still am on the fence of whether or not I like it and whether or not it's worth it. It does help with the Omega crunch, but man, it is not. It does take a bite out of your crystals. So if you're not ranking high in the arena every day, I don't think it's worth it to do it. But if you've got some crystals to spare, if you're spending a little bit of money, yeah, it is worth it. I may have indulged a little bit recently. Not sure if I'm gonna buy the Han Solo packs or the bundles or the Vandor Chewie. I can't say that yet. The Vandor Chewie pack yet, but I might. I think that it's I think it's gonna be a solid deal, and especially if they're gonna just stick with that $9.99, which I think they're going to. $10 is that's McDonald's. Well, it depends on how much McDonald's you eat. I ate more than that today. But so going into it, guys, young Han, starting off, I've rambled too long. Young Han is a scoundrel. He is an attacker. Scoundrel attacker who becomes more deadly with time. He's obviously light side, which I'm really curious about how they're going to make that in the video or how they're going to make him in the movie. I think he's going to be one of those rebels without a cause who finds the real cause, or he's going to be that smuggler with a heart of gold, right? And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that. Now, his first ability, Trick Shot, it reads deal physical damage to target enemy and inflicts speed down for 2 turns. Han becomes prepared if the target is below 50% turn meter. Now, prepared is this new this new mechanic that we haven't seen in the game so far, and it's kind of interesting because it comes back and it's very, very important. I do believe that it is a stat change. I don't think that it's necessarily an ability. I think I can't remember exactly how they put it, but I think that it's something that is going to be sweet and very, very effective. Now, his first ability is called Upper Hand. Now, if you see, and I apologize for this live stream because it's just my face, but if you've looked at the forums, if you've seen the graphic, the GIF, it's cool because it's got. I think it's just neat because it's got Han, flicking his dice up in the air, and that's not a euphemism. That is legitimately what he's doing. He has those dice that he's hanging from his mirror, and he, flicks up in the air. And it's a cool move. Now, this is not a specific. I don't think this is an attack. The text reads Han gains protection up, which is 100%, and retribution for 2 turns. Right, so he can 100% turn chance to counter. He also gains plus 50 speed, stacking max for up to 200 for the rest of the encounter. Now let me check real quick. If this Han is even remotely fast, that's going to be crazy. The moment you get some solid mods on him, it's going to be just that's going to be nuts, right? Han's base speed, looking at it now, is 100, so not super fast. He's not. I think that's the slowest Han out there right now. Even Stormtrooper Han is faster than that. But you put on some solid speed mods, you put on some solid mods with speed, if not just speed mods, and this is going to be one of our first characters who can easily break 300 just through abilities. That's pretty awesome, guys. I'm really excited for that because that means he's going to go super fast. He's going to get a chance to go just often. And I think that coupled with Raid Han is going to make for a really fun team. Now, moving on, special just in time is it's got 3-turn cooldown. Final text reads deal physical damage to target enemy. This attack deals 25% more damage for each other prepared ally. Target other allies recover protection equal to 50% of the damage dealt. So you're going to be gaining protection a lot. Now, Prepared. This is what prepared reads as. Target other ally becomes prepared, and Han is no longer prepared. So it's like he's prepared, then he gives his prepared. Then all prepared allies gain critical damage up for 1 turn. Han recovers protection equal to 50% of the damage dealt. So I'm curious about his survivability. I won't know until really I get a chance to play with him. Man, I wish I had a "that's what she said" line. But I really won't get a chance to play with him until probably later on this week. Hopefully, I'm not entirely sure. Well, for sure, I'll be able to play with him on my own account later this week on the 17th. But before that, I'm not entirely positive. I'm really excited though about his survivability, because that really makes me think that he's going to be able to last in a lot of areas that some of the other Hans haven't. I'm curious to see how he will pair up with some of the other Hans. I'm curious to see how he's going to pair up with Stormtrooper Han. I definitely think OG Han or Raid Han and Young Han are going to be a force to be reckoned with. Very excited. His unique. Now, moving on, his unique is ready for anything. Final text: when Han starts his turn with protection up, which he's going to get a lot, it sounds like. He gains 10% offense stacking and 10% critical chance stacking until the end of the battle. While prepared, Han has a 70% chance to assist another scoundrel ally's attack during their turn, and this is limited once per turn. So again, that coupling, that OG Han, the Raid Han with this Han, is going to be very, very potent, right? Because OG Han's gonna get to go, and then Young Han is going to have a 70% chance to attack. When he attacks, he's going to be doing speed down, and he's going to prepare himself. He's going to come prepared, right? I think of like Scar or like the Boy Scouts when I think of be prepared, right? Now, it's this fun fact: young Han Solo was originally part of the Smuggler faction. The Smuggler tag was a part of an earlier version of the character and won't be added until we have a solid gameplay reason to do so. Now, I'm going to be talking about that Smuggler faction here in a little bit, because I have some theories as to where I think they're going with this. Now, this is purely speculation. I do not have any foreknowledge as to what this could mean or what this could even be. But I do think that is a faction that we will see eventually, if not immediately, added to the game. And I am excited to see it. Now, moving on to Vandor Chewie, not Vendor, not Indoor Chewie, Vandor Chewie. Now, he is a light side character, obviously. He is a scoundrel tank. And I've got to say, if you just look at his character, does he not look like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, just with like, I don't know, speed goggles on, or like squash goggles on, whatever, racquetball, whatever that is? I mean, he looks like that. In my mind, that's just what I see. That, or kind of a schnauzer, but a more angry, aggressive schnauzer who's taller, right? It says he's an aggressive scoundrel tank that provides protection recovery for his allies when they are attacked. Now, what's interesting about this is Chewie is not a character with a lot of protection. He is definitely going to be one of those characters that's going to have more health than protection, which really makes me think that he's going to be very valuable in the Sith raid, especially I want to say just in phase 1 and 2, possibly, maybe even phase 3. But I definitely think that with what we've seen with some of the scoundrel or even the bounty hunter rework, there's some definite synergy with scoundrels, and I think that we're going to see these two characters be very valuable in the new STR. Now, his basic ability, Chewie Unchained, or just Unchained, deals physical damage to target enemy. If it's Chewbacca's turn, he also gains advantage for 2 turns. This attack ignores defense. So pretty solid, right? Pretty awesome. It's going to just be a very powerful hit. First special ability, Freedom Fighter, is a 4-turn cooldown. Final text reads, deals physical damage to target enemy twice. So we essentially get a double attack, right? This attack deals damage based on Chewbacca's max health instead of his attack damage. Okay. Target other ally recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt. Then Chewbacca and target other ally gain protection up for 30 or protection up 30% for 2 turns, right? So again, if it's with a young Han, this is going to benefit young Han because every time he has protection up, stuff happens, right? Prepared. This attack deals double damage. So if Chewie is prepared, it deals double damage. Chewbacca recovers health equal to 50% of the damage dealt. So the normal damage that he would have done if he wasn't prepared. Reduce this ability's cooldown by 2, and all prepared allies, again, young Han, gain protection up for 30 or protection up 30% for 2 turns. That just means that young Han, I mean, there's a lot of synergy that you see between these two, which makes sense because they're kind of the dynamic duo of Star Wars. Outside of 000 and BT, the merry murder droids. For those of you who read Dr. Aphra or any of the new comics that have come out. First unique, the Beast. I mean, the puns. I mean, just the maybe not even puns, but just what's coming out with this. I'm really excited. Right, we're gonna have a Beast mode Chewie. That's just kind of awesome, right? Final text read: Chewbacca has minus 25% protection, but plus 75% max health. In addition, all enemies deal minus 25% damage while Chewbacca is buffed. Now, this is going to be a very, very beneficial thing if you're going to be throwing, I don't know, one of those unremovable buffs, say something like Yoda's abilities, Hermit Yoda's abilities on Chewie, because that is going to be crazy because the more health he has, the more damage he's going to do. The more damage he does, I don't know, the faster the enemy dies, which is obvious. But I think that's going to be sweet. Finally, we have a reason for the health mods that we've been collecting and just sitting on. Obviously, there's more reasons than just this to put your health mods on. But moving on, unique 2, ferocious protector. Man, I can't speak tonight. While Chewbacca is buffed, which again, there are characters that can allow you to buff him, keep him buffed the whole dang time. He has a 100% counter chance at the end of each turn while Chewbacca is buffed. If an ally took damage from an attack that turn and Chewbacca didn't, right? So if you've got someone who's doing damage, if you've got someone who's a tank that's not Chewbacca, Chewbacca recovers protection equal to 10% of his max health, and other scoundrel allies recover half that amount. So this kind of seems like one of the Barriss Offee abilities, one of the passive, like, hey, if I'll heal you passively if you're a scoundrel, and moving on. So when Chewbacca recovers to max protection, which it doesn't sound like he's going to have a lot, right? So recovering to max protection shouldn't be very difficult. He becomes prepared. So if he has max protection ever, he's just prepared, it sounds like. Or if he loses protection, then immediately gains it back, he's prepared. When another light side scoundrel ally is defeated, if Chewbacca is prepared, revive that ally at 60% health, then Chewbacca is no longer prepared. So I don't see him as much of a tank, but as a very, very supportive healer. I mean, he tanks a little bit maybe, but I don't know. Now, fun fact, Vandor Chewie was originally part of the Smuggler faction. The Smuggler tag was a part of an earlier version of the character and won't be added until we have a solid gameplay or reason to do so. Now, his attack damage is going to be nuts. And as you saw, or as if you've looked at the images, if you've looked at some of the stuff, his attack damage is kind of nuts. It is up there, man. I'm really, really excited for this. Now, here's some random speculation, right? These are the first two characters that we've gotten from this new movie. Now, we don't know what other characters are coming. Looking at the scoundrel side, looking at the light side scoundrel side, we are left with really only 3 players, and that is Hans, Chewie's, and Lando, right? I think that we're going to see a new Lando. I really want to see a Lando with I think an L337. That's what I'm childish Landino. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see a new Lando. I think that would be awesome. I don't know if that's what we're actually going to be seeing or not. I'm hoping that we do. And even if we don't, I'm hoping that the eventual Lando rework, because let's face it, we're going to get one eventually, really plays into this connection, to this new scoundrel kind of boost, right? They're getting a shot in the arm here, and I for one, I'm really excited about it. I mean, I'm an excitable person, and it doesn't take much. But I really hope that we do get a new Lando, and I hope that we get a new droid in the form of L3. Now, no spoilers here. I won't go into it. But from everything that I've heard, L3 is kind of the K2SO of this movie. A lot of fun, kind of a great character, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that. I like droids, right? I like Ewoks. We don't have Ewoks in this movie, from what I understand. But I'm really excited to see. I would love to see those two characters in the game. But with that said, I also think that when this smuggler tag comes in, because I don't think that it's a long way off. I really don't. I think they're going to ride this, because I mean, unless if you know something that I don't, leave it in the comments below, but or put it in the chat here. But one of the things that I'm thinking is some of these other characters that we will eventually get from this movie, and I think that we'll get them sooner rather than later if the movie's a hit. Like if the movie really, really rocks, then I think that what we're going to see is these characters introduced sooner. I mean, I don't mean like next week or next month even. I think maybe next month, but sooner than that. Or sooner than like a year from now, sooner than like just randomly, hey, we don't have anything else to put in. Let's throw in that one character that we created that didn't have a use for it. I think that what we'll see is like, hey, it's a hit. Let's piggyback on this. Let's take advantage of this, and let's introduce them in couples, right? Let's introduce like the next pair as Lando and L3. Let's introduce the Mud Trooper and the train guy, the Maglev guy. I forget what his name is, but he looks awesome, right? I think there's a lot of potential for this. Whoever the villain is, I still hold strong that the villain's going to turn out to be Kira. I think that she is not to be trusted. I'm nothing against women, but I really think Han's going to get his heart broken here, guys. I think that's what's going to happen. And if you read the book Last Shot, it kind of talks about that, right? Not necessarily Kira, but man, I don't know. I'm excited. I really am. So that being said, with this whole smuggler thing, 2 characters, and I have been harping on one of them for the longest time. I think this is the first opportunity. I think this is the hint that we are going to be getting Hondo Ohnaka. I am when I saw this in the post today, I was like, the whole smuggler thing that opens up a ton of opportunity, both in current story and in Legends. We could get a number of EU smugglers in this. Now, again, Capital Games is not held by, and even EA is not held by canon. They don't have to introduce canon, right? There are characters in this game who are not officially canon, right? HK-47 comes to mind. I think there are others. I'm pretty sure there's others. But that's, I mean, I think what, Logray? Isn't Logray in the Ewok movie? Which, I mean, is it canon? I don't know. I'm not 100%. But still, I'm thinking that, like, it's possible that, like, they could introduce, I don't know, like Dash Rendar, who I think was technically a smuggler. Maybe not even technically. Maybe he just, like, was a smuggler. I thought they were going to introduce Dash in Rebels. You saw a ship that was like his in Rebels, and it was really cool. When I saw the preview for it, I was like, oh, that's the ship. That's the ship. Turns out it wasn't him. It was just some punk kids, and that episode was frustrating. But we could see characters from the EU, from the Legends material. I am hoping that they start to incorporate more and more of that, more and more of the Legends. I think we're seeing Boba's daughter would actually be Boba, just more iterations of Boba Fett. Boba Fett as the Mandalore would be awesome. Mandalore the Indomitable, Mandalore the Great would be awesome. I'm not even a huge Mandalorian fan, but a faction of Mandalorians. I mean, we already have a few of them in the game. That would be sweet. That would be awesome. I don't know. Back to smugglers, right? I'm thinking we're going to see Han. I am hoping beyond hope that the smuggler faction comes with some kind of, I don't know, story mode that we'll see. Now, if you, and again, pure speculation, I cannot say that loud enough. I do not have any information on this. But if you look at last summer, I'm pretty confident we got Jedi Training Rey last, was it August or was it June? I can't remember. It was last summer sometime, right? Then the summer before that, we got, I think it was Thrawn and CLS, right? And then like the summer before that, I think, or maybe the summer before that, this game wasn't out yet. I can't remember. But it's around May and June, we get some kind of great story, and we get a new character, a new bit of information, and it usually comes with a new, I don't want to say meta, but a new cool faction, a new cool character. And I'm really, really hoping that it has something to do with the smuggler faction, that it plays off of this Solo movie, which I'm really hoping turns out well. I'm skeptically optimistic. I'm hopefully optimistic, or I'm gleefully pessimistic. I don't know. I don't want to go and get my hopes too high, but at the same time, I really am not sure. Everything looks great. And I'm comparing this not to the episodes. I'm comparing this to Rogue One. Rogue One was great. I really liked it, but there were issues, of course, and there were reshoots, of course. I'm hoping that the reshoots with Ron Howard turned out to be great. For those of you who haven't seen the Ron Howard Arrested Development Star Wars sketch, first off, if you haven't seen Arrested Development, go watch seasons 1 through 3. You don't need to see 4 unless you're a glutton for punishment. 5's coming out in a couple of weeks. I'm really excited for it. There's like 3 things in May that I'm really excited for. 1, Deadpool. I mean, super stoked for Deadpool. And this is a total tangent, but it looks awesome. The commercial with Deadpool dancing to Celine Dion, hilarious. And I'm just really looking forward to it. Number 2, obviously Solo. I'm really, really excited for this. 3, the Arrested Development series, because it's coming out again. I'm hopeful. I'm skeptical because 4 sucked. But anyways, go and watch the Arrested Development version of Star Wars. It's really funny. It's probably funnier if you've seen Arrested Development. Both good shows, right? Let me take a break here. Now, to get to some of your questions, I do think that Lando will come with the Millennium Falcon. I do. I think the next Millennium Falcon we are getting is not going to be a Han flown Millennium Falcon. I think this is going to be the pristine, cool, Millennium Falcon that has a room for all of Lando's capes. And yeah, he had a room for all of Lando's capes, right? That was kind of ridiculous. Some people have rooms full of shoes. Lando had rooms full of capes. I don't know, guys, but I do think that's what we're going to see. And that's why I think that we're going to see L3, and that's why I think that we're going to see a young Lando. Now, again, and this is going to be kind of a spoiler for the book Last Shot. Solid book. Give yourself 2 minutes. I'll try to wrap it up if you want to read it, or if you're in the middle of it, jump out now. But what I'm thinking, though, is in the book Last Shot, there's a lot of backstory. There's a lot of flashbacks. And essentially there's a main story that runs in current time after the Battle of Endor. It's like 4 years, 5 years after the Battle of Endor, right? Then you have two sets of flashbacks, right? One set tells a story of Han Solo, and that takes place 10 years before the Battle of Endor, yeah. Then you have another set of flashbacks that tells the story of Lando that takes place 12 years before the Battle of Endor. What I'm thinking is Solo is going to take the place like at 11 years. I think we're going to see that story. And somewhere in that back and forth, we're going to see the Falcon change hands. Before that, though, I do think that we're in this game specifically, we are going to see I think we're going to see the Falcon, but I don't think it's going to be a Han flown Falcon. I think that's one of those like super in games. So like if CG ever becomes like super, and this is just off the top of my head, they're like dying for fans, which they're not. They're still getting a ton of people. There's a lot of hate out there. There's some deserved hate, and there's a lot that I think is undeserved. These guys, like if you were to talk to them, they're huge fans. Like it's ridiculous how I lost some viewers because I said that, but like they're huge fans. They are, and they're just trying to make the best game they can. Now, yeah, it's a business, and they're trying to make money too. But they're fans of the game. They're fans of Star Wars. They're not going to make a crappy game. They're not going to do something that's going to piss people off on purpose. Of course, they will piss people off. They're going to upset the fan base. Guys, we as Star Wars fans, we're kind of divas. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I am. I know I'm a diva when it comes to Star Wars but I know a lot of fans that are. They're just total divas. And if it's not their Star Wars, they get frustrated. I tried to put on my thumbnail, hashtag not my Han, because when I found out that it was I can't say his name, Alden Eichenbrecht, Erkenstein, whatever. That guy, the new young Han, he just wasn't the one that I wanted for the new Han. I don't even remember who I wanted anymore, but it was not him. And I was like, no, not my Han. He's going to be terrible. And I'm gleefully pessimistic. I'm skeptically optimistic. I'm hopeful that he does a decent job. I've only seen him in one other movie, and it didn't even, keep my attention. But the movie kind of wasn't great, in my opinion. So that being said, who knows? It could have been the bad movie. It could have been he's a bad actor. We don't know. We have to wait and see. But CG and EA, they're going to make mistakes, But these are people who are passionate about making the best game possible. And I really like that. I really respect that. They're going to piss people off. I haven't been satisfied with all of their decisions. There are things that they've done that have bothered me. But I still play the game. I still make these videos. I still spend way too much time playing the game each day. It's fun. It's fun for me. And I like it. But, okay, back to the whole smuggler section. The number 2. I spent like 15 minutes going off on that tangent. Number 2 smuggler that I think is coming into the game is the Queen Smuggler herself, Maz Kanata. Now, I mean, I think eventually we're going to get a Maz. Eventually, we have to get a Maz. I think they're spending way too much time in universe around her. If you look at the Force cartoons that are coming out, those 2-minute clips, Forces of Destiny, those are centered around Maz telling a story, right? And whether you like Maz or not, whether you like what they've done with the new videos or not, Maz could be a very solid character in this game. She could be kind of like an aggressive, scrupulous Yoda. And, I honestly think a Maz, if she was like the leader of a scoundrel faction, would be awesome. I mean, and let's face it, that's kind of who she is. She has a castle full of scoundrels. She's like, I don't know, and I think of my friend growing up, like his grandma was like abuelita, and abuelita was like, you did not mess with abuelita because she'd come after you, right? That's kind of what I view Maz Kanata as, the abuelita of like the Star Wars universe. I honestly think that she would be awesome. Now, Vinicius Reyes, do you think that they will release some Imperial troopers from a Solo movie? Answer is yes. I don't think we'll see them before the Solo movie, though. I think that we will see Imperial troopers probably sometime in the summer. The reason I say that, and it would be cool to see them sooner, I really want to see some new Imperial trooper blood, mostly because I'm not super familiar with them. And the last time I used an Imperial trooper was like Magma Droid or Magma Trooper. But I want to see some new ones that like I can kind of grow with, I can just jump into it. I've developed my troopers a little bit since their rework. I'd love to see them introduced, but I'm really, really hoping that we get some named characters first before we get characters like Mud Trooper and the other one, right? The Magma Lev Tank Trooper, whatever his name is. That would be really cool. I don't think that we'll see any like Imperial like higher ups. I was kind of hoping for like an Imperial Han, because as we see from some of the credits, as we see from some of the trailers, that Han is hands down like he starts off this film as an Imperial in the Imperial Academy, right? He starts off as a Mud Trooper. With that being said, it could have been awesome to see a dark side Han. That would have been freaking cool. I don't know. Maybe Han 6 will be the Mud Trooper. I don't know. And if they do a trilogy like I've heard rumors with this Solo film, maybe they will. Maybe they will. Who knows? I do think that we'll get them eventually. I don't think that it'll be soon. Now, part of the reason why I think that is I think that what we'll be seeing is, as far as the summer goes, we're going to probably see some kind of large event sometime end of June, beginning of July. We'll also see that build towards something in August. Then we'll kind of see a drop off until I think they'll probably start hyping up whatever the Resistance cartoon is that comes out in the fall. I believe it's the fall. Maybe it's the fall of 2019. I might be mistaken. But we do know that the Resistance cartoon is coming out soon and is in production. With that, though, I think that what we'll actually see is some kind of like, hey, we have one more year until episode 9. Let's keep this hype train going. How can we do that? Let's introduce books. Let's introduce some other things that are going to like kick some stuff around. And I really think that what we'll see is a lot of characters that we haven't seen added to the game. So like Snoke's capital ship. I think we'll see stuff like that added to the game around that time to keep fans hyped, to keep fans interested. Now, there's also rumors of video games like Xbox games, PlayStation 4 games, right? I think we could potentially see other games introduced that they could pull from, especially if EA is the title. Then we'll definitely see those characters introduced into this game some way or another. but I think there's got to be something that will kind of light a fire under fans in at Christmas time that will keep people excited. And I think that's when we as fans will get a lot of the characters that we've wanted for a while. I mean, if we see Revan anytime in the next 2 years, which I doubt, it'll be in February because that's when they go Old Republic, right? That is their Old Republic time. They're putting feelers out in the water. They're saying, hey, are people excited? And of course, they know people are excited. But I think it'll be in February. But great question, Vincinius. I don't know if I said your name right. People say my name wrong all the time, so I feel you. Any other questions? Hit me. Now, I'll keep talking while I wait for some more questions. But I do think, as far as these two tunes go, I think with Vandor Chewie and young Han, we will see a lot of use with them, specifically in the STR. I do think that they're going to do a pretty solid amount of damage in the other areas. I'm not convinced that they'll be able to solo the Rancor on auto. I think they could solo the Rancor. I don't know if they'll solo it on auto. I do think that we will see some great use for them in territory wars and territory battles. I really think they're going to be a solid defensive team. I think they're going to make Scoundrels in and of themselves a very solid defensive team. But I think any additions to the Scoundrel faction, any additions to especially light side Scoundrels, we'll see added. We'll see that as a benefit, especially in territory wars, territory battles. I also think that they will have a part to play in the tank raid. I just have a gut feeling that they will. I'm not sold entirely, but there's something about that speed. Now, here's the problem, though. There's got to be a team. I'm thinking maybe like a CLS with OG Han, with young Han, maybe Tebow, something that does like a ton of like turn meter reduction to get you through phase 1, and then it's got to just devastate in the other phases. I'm not entirely convinced, but I'm curious to see how it plays out, because I really want to see that role. Now, what about a Chewie team? Now, I think a Chewie team is possible. I think a Chewie team is reasonable. Looking at the Chewies, let me pull it up here on my phone real quick. Scoundrels. I guess I could have just typed in Chewbacca. It'll really depend on how you put it together. I'm still not convinced by Clone Wars Chewie. I want to see other Ewoks introduced into this. I want to see other Wookiees introduced to this. Chewie is not the only Wookiee we see, right? I mean, I'm really hoping that's Chewie's life mate there in the trailer, because Chewie deserves love too, guys. Right? But with that, I think that we need to see more Wookiees in this game, and I think until we do, I don't think that we'll really see Clone Wars Chewie as a super viable option. I think he'll be good. I mean, his rework's decent. I mean, it's not great, but it just really doesn't mesh with a lot of stuff. And it might simply be because we haven't spent enough time with OG Chewie, with Clone Wars Chewie, to figure out his strengths and weaknesses. But at best, he's a replacement for a character for like Stormtrooper Han, at best. And at worst, he's just not great. So I don't know if a flat out Chewie team will be the best. I don't think it'll be great. Again, I argue Han Solo actually could be a dark side character, because if you think about this, it's all a matter of perspective. The way that the Emperor spun all right, so I'll go with this, and then I'll look at you. So that's a valid point, Charles. So the way that the Emperor spun it, the Empire was the good guys. The rebels were were terrorists, right? Now, if Saw Gerrera, arguably, I mean, not even arguably, he was a terrorist, right? Two tubes, terrorist, right? That's freedom fighters, but that's what they did, right? You could argue that he is a dark side character because he is a scoundrel, but I don't know. I think because we have societal things and we're like, hey, he's charming, so he's not bad. I just think that's what it comes down to. I don't think because he's a scoundrel, he's going to be a dark side character. I think anytime he'd be a dark side character, or if he were ever to be a dark side character, it would be like Mud Trooper Han, right? And even then, he'd probably have some kind of like turning ability where he's both light and dark. I don't know. I don't know. And to answer your question, Jay, or to respond to your statement, I think you're right. There's a lot of people who feel that the light side has definitely outnumbered a lot of the gameplay here. Now, at the same time, they haven't spent a ton of time focusing on dark side characters. I'm really hoping that we get some more darkness in the Star Wars universe. I don't think it'll ever happen, but man, the Game of Thrones via Star Wars or set in Star Wars times, that would be awesome. I mean, think of like the dark side that could really strive or come out of that, like the dark side characters that could really come out of that. And they could pull a lot of Legends characters into that type of movie, into that type of setting. I really hope that's where they go with it. I don't think that we'll see the makers of the Game of Thrones do a comedy, but who knows? Who knows? Yeah. So, guys, I'm wrapping it up. I love doing this. I haven't done a live stream since August of last year. I think the last time I did it was with Cubs fan Han and Grandmaster Yoda or Ratmaster Yoda, right? It was back in the day when I was still fairly new to this. Had a ton of just problems with it. So, but I love doing this, and I might start doing it a little more often. Maybe I'll branch out and talk more about the Star Wars universe. I've been loving the new comics that have come out. I read and guys, I gotta say, if you hated Episode 8, which I know a lot of people did, read the book. Listen to the audiobook. The audiobook's pretty cool, and you don't have to actually pay attention to it. But it gives you more insight. It doesn't defend Rose. If you can just skip all the Rose parts, but like even DJ, the Master Codebreaker. I hated that guy. Worthless character. He's a plot device at best. But the books have been great. The book actually redeems a lot of the film. Turns out, from what I've also heard, that the comic series, it's coming out. That's the adaptation of Episode 8 in comic form. Also does a lot of that. So if you're a hater, which a lot of people are, right? A lot of people really disappointed with Episode 8, and I'm not blaming you, because I found it entertaining. I didn't like it. I mean, it's hard to describe that. It's hard to explain that, but it was entertaining, but it bothered me, right? I went out and bought it. I haven't watched it yet, right? But as I read the book, it does redeem a lot of Luke. It does redeem Princess Leia's, soaring into the capital ship, her Mary Poppins moment. But that's the thing. I think a lot of the problem with Episode 8 was a lot of the information was internal. It was the internal struggle, and that was something that we didn't see come out in the film. We saw it come out via, the book, the inner thoughts, the monologues. We saw it in Kylo Ren's thoughts in the book. But we didn't get that in the movie, and that, I don't know, kind of exciting, kind of frustrating at the same time. So the book, exciting, comic also, there are a ton of places to read free comics online. check them out first before you go to Barnes and Noble or anything like that. So, um, thank you guys for showing up. I don't do these very often. I should start doing them more. But this has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy. And as always, my friends, stay nerdy.